Why'd they drop the numbers?
Well, they come out the last couple quarters. We'd gotten them the first half of the year, so it seemed, I was sort of like, listen, it's a matter of time. We're going to get them, but they come out and it's sort of the whim of whoever's leaking it to sort of frame them and share what they will. So I think Uber felt like, okay, we can own the message a little bit more, and this is sort of an experiment for them.
An experiment. What did you read into the numbers, Brad? Because I was blown away by, yes, the growth, but still the hefty losses. This is what, $1 billion that they're managing to splash each particular
quarter. Right. Yeah, extraordinary growth on the top line, $6.5 billion over the year, but also the bottom line. And look, for me, we've seen this movie before, right? Amazon in 2000 losses, I think over $1 billion, about 50%.
Like $2 billion adjusted for inflation.
Yeah. I think it was $1.4 billion at the time. 50% of revenues. Extraordinary. Now, Uber has some advantages that Amazon did not, right? It's a private company, and we are in this extraordinary capital environment still where it seems like a lot of people are willing to provide these companies money. Uber is also expanding geographically and as a platform, right? Rolling out things like Uber Eats and Uber Rush, Uber Pool, of course. So, I tend to give these companies the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, it's got to grow into that loss a little bit and continue to show the top line growth.
We were just hearing from Netflix that, sometimes you need to splash the cash to be able to keep up with competitors. What interested me is how murky some of the numbers are when you're looking at them. Eric, talk to us through about, because the losses don't actually include stock compensation, certain real estate investments, automobile purchases. I mean, how much bigger could they actually even be?
Yeah, Uber refers them to as EBIT losses. It's 2.8 billion, not including China. They lost at least $1 billion last year in China. So we're looking at 3.8 billion, which is it's historic. It's hard to find a private company who's lost that much money. And you're right, even that, we're not sort of quite capturing the full extent of it. We tried to look through the actual money in, money out. They've raised, I'm going to get the number wrong, 15 billion or so in equity and spent at least 7 or 8 billion of it. So if you look at that, you can see, okay, the losses don't encompass sort of the full extent of the cash burn. And then just to add on to Brad's point, I mean, Uber would say they're experimenting in parallel rather than in serial like some companies. They're doing Eats, autonomous, everything at once because they, investors are providing them the opportunity. So whereas Amazon's been aggressive with its cash flows, Uber's been able to try and do it all at once, and that's what happened. Of course, after the 2000 dot-com spending, Amazon laid off like 15% of its workforce, so there are dangers to going as big as Amazon did then.
How much should we read into saying that, of course, Eric, they're saying that investors have given them this cash, they're able to put it to work, and one of their investors is indeed Jeff Bezos. How much do you think he actually says, look, sometimes always promise jam tomorrow because you need the jam today and you should keep on spending?
Well, Bezos invested very early on, so he probably, I don't know that he would back this kind of company now. I guess we'll see, right? I mean, this is a company that has gone out pretty much every year since it started. And, you have the public scandals, of course, over the last couple of months, and these numbers, which maybe aren't for the faint of heart. I think we'll see fairly early on if they do go back and raise capital and what that valuation is. I mean, companies like Ola in India have taken down rounds. So it doesn't seem like the same optimism is quite here around ride-hailing. If Uber can go and raise more money at an even higher valuation, or maybe we see a public offering in the next 12 months or so, then we'll see how investors are reacting.
And this is